Cloud9 AHQ to respond with, I'm going to guess, Kalista.
Wow! Prophet.
Yo, I'm so good.
Well done, Phreak. Honestly, though, the question, when Westdoor is in the game, how much do people actually think about the champion pool? Because his is much different, right? The Twisted Fate and the Fizz is always brought up every single year, and some teams actually even walk down that path of spending bans on that rather than spending bans on the meta picks at the moment.
They just banned TF.
Okay.
They're actually like, they're so afraid.
One of those teams.
They're so afraid that in this crucial game, that AHQ are playing Westdoor so you can pick this TF.
I feel like this is one of Westdoor's greatest powers.
Yeah.
Right? Year after year, it always happens.
You ban his champions, everything else left up.
And I know it's Westdoor's TF, it's very special, but I still feel like you can at least save it for second ban phase, worst case, or just give it to him and camp that lane. There are so many champions in the mid lane with CC setups you can use to shut it down. I guess Fizz is something they're going to consider now?
Yeah, maybe as well. Keep in mind, if he goes down the pool, his Malzahar 8-1 right now this year, so there's definitely some things Westdoor can bring out. We'll see what comes in later on this one. Lulu off the table, looks like a Janna first pick. See if that comes through, though.
Yeah, unless AHQ ban it here, you would definitely expect them to match. I really do not agree with any teams leaving up one. I guess AHQ are going to do it. And Cloud9, the only pause here would be, what's the bait? What are they? What is the...
Rakan is up, which a lot of teams will actually take over Janna, and you could even go for the full Misfit style and grab like a Blitzcrank or a Thresh and go really hard, but Rakan, the most likely answer.
I think going Rakan, Jarvan as your trade, so you literally leave Janna up for the only reason that you know C9 will first pick it, so you get your two preferred champions right now in your first rotation. Otherwise, you should just ban the Janna, of course.
Biggest difference here, to me, is that Rakan takes a higher level of execution to pull off than Janna.
Sure.
I don't think many people would argue with that, right?
Yes. Everyone agrees with you in the entire community of League of Legends.
And we've seen quite a few, especially after the nerfs to Rakan, slowing him down a bit. We have seen the counterplay come through. You can have AoE silences, you can have large knockbacks. Cho'Gath, Syndra have been some of the big meta picks that have actually been able to deal with it.
So they value the Twitch here. There are still a lot of late game carries for Sneaky to play and have the Janna protecting him.
Yeah,
obviously.
Trist, the likely ones.
Definitely true. We have a Rakan not being picked this time because they didn't have to show support. And I was wondering if other teams wanted to start playing Caitlyn. It's been the LPL team so far doing it. A lot of success, especially in the early game. It's a great pick in lane against Twitch as well.
And it looks like they're going to do it. Time's ticking down, and Cloud9 going to pick up a champion that I'm pretty sure exactly 2 teams practiced heading into Worlds. Okay, 3, sorry, all the Chinese squads probably played it, but she was gone from the metagame.
Yes.
Entirely. No one's considering this champion. You heard Mithy talk about it. He's like, no, Sven never considered this thing even being viable whatsoever. And that's going to be the pickup here. So Sneaky in the do-or-die game for Cloud9 and North America as a whole, pulling out the Caitlyn.
When people have been seeing these games too, and they're like, oh my god, why doesn't everyone pick Caitlyn? Well, the reason is she does, drop off more later than she used to. And yes, she has been bullying these lanes. You need to be able to bully these lanes. You need to be able to wear down this turret and start to get gold for the rest of your team and use this swing of momentum early on, switching from turret to turret and kind of sieging as the way to win the game. Now they have actually locked in another form of disengage for themselves. So C9 looks like they're fully committing to this strategy.
I was just about to mention the Fizz. He'd be like, if he wants to play it after that TF ban, he needs to pick it now. It does mean Rakan is not going to get locked in by AHQ. And instead, what they got from their Janna bait was a Jarvan and a Twitch. I don't feel like they won out on that trade.
What's interesting as well is it doesn't play against Cloud9 style just yet. If it's an early game snowball comp, you picked no wave clear in your mid lane, which is often one of the roles that actually exists.
That's a very big point. There are 2 things that you usually look for when you're talking about siege comps and things like this in the early game. One is the wave clear. The other one is hard engage to try and crack it later. You look for this decisive moment in the game where you force a team fight with some hard engage, some guarantee. There are a lot of options that have been banned out here. I would expect Cloud9 to ban more of them. Rakan, one of those big, tools that you can use to get those engagements.
So I need to see some kill pressure here from AHQ in this draft. In the bottom lane, if you're gonna play this Twitch here against the Caitlyn and the Janna, I'm always looking towards like as a support who can actually engage on the Caitlyn, and then you can camp the lane with Jarvan and double TP and use that to try and shut down Sneaky.
I see two styles. You go full Karma and you wave through and keep the turret alive to stall to the one item point where Twitch starts outscale, or you go for the hardcore, the Thresh, the Blitzcrank, the dive.
And I do like, you know, opting for one of those pull supports because even with the Karma, I feel like the Caitlyn Janna begins to wear down the turret anyway.
They're doing it.
It could be a drop in the bucket. Maybe they'll be able to pull it off though and actually buy enough time for themselves and delay, you know, the turret gold going down.
It's such a risky draft. I think Azale in his prediction touched on the fact that Westdoor playing against Cloud9 is really risky from AHQ side because C9 is the team who loves to play around mid. Westdoor is a weak laner. He falls behind in the early game. Cloud9, last time these guys played each other last week, destroyed that mid lane.
Weak laner, but strong roamer. So maybe it's just AHQ deciding to go more into the bucket of, we are going to crack this game open with a big play and have Westdoor, you know, crack on the bottom side and break one of those big things open.
But then you're going to go down to this lane here where your playmaking potential is a snare after a few seconds from a Karma. It's, I hope the bot lane can survive for long enough so that Phreak, you're 100% correct with the Hurricane coming in from Twitch, and then they try and fight back.
Sure.
But they gotta be able to survive in that early game. You can't lose the early tower.
And remember, with this LeBlanc pick, you know, Jensen could very easily take teleport as well. And there are two forms, the best two forms really of disengaging the entire game here with Janna and Gragas. So Cloud9 do have defensive options to try and stop that big play. And
they've picked strong laning everywhere. Gnar coming in as the quasi-blind pick for the top lane. Certainly one of the better laners in top lane League of Legends. Impact, no stranger to the champion. Of course, Jensen's LeBlanc a big deal as well.
Do we get the Jace again for Ziv against this Gnar up in the top lane? Or will they just play a simple tank?
Yeah, the problem with that is, and I really want this big moment where you have the hard engage. And Jarvan is one form, but that's not enough. Janna completely stuffs him, right?
Yep.
So now with the Maokai, they're trying to get that extra layer, it looks like.
But you got 3 losing lanes now. Like, you're gonna get shoved in 3 lanes. Contractz should have freedom to roam wherever he wants in this game.
Gotta believe in that big one play.
Yeah, you've got to believe in the big one play, the big roam. AHQ, I think, if they survive, their team fight, to me, looks a lot stronger. I think the scaling is really good in a lot of places. But Cloud9, as you're mentioning, 3 winning lanes. It's around a lot of this, the Caitlyn Janna chip, the repeated pressure in the bot lane, and it's the sustained chipping versus the big play out of HQ.
And the team that opts into the sustained chipping and this early advantage are the ones that have to watch their mistakes. You can't afford to have unforced errors with these types of compositions. As both of you guys have highlighted, you give some gold over to this HQ comp,
of course,
and they can start to prey on you.
I think also, though, on the team who needs to defend all 3 lanes, it's kind of the same thing. If you do mess up in the early game and give a big advantage over to Cloud9, that's an early tower dropping. And then this Caitlyn is going top lane and mid lane, and suddenly you find yourself without outer turrets, and you're pushed really far back on the map. So it definitely goes both ways. It's on HQ to be proactive once they get that first item. Before that, defend, stall, hope maybe Mountain can pull off a surprise gank in the early game.
Honestly, every single minion wave is a big objective for AHQ.
Yeah, a minion wave is required to knock down turrets. You kill those turrets off, get the minions off, no push. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The most important game of the group stage. Lose and you are out of the tournament. 3rd or 4th place is a guarantee. Win and you are in at least a tiebreaker with EDG, or with SKT's help, you are in as the 2nd seed out of Group A. It's all on how this team plays. Cloud9 swag coming out from Sneaky's helmet. See what happens.
I think Cloud9 will be happy with their draft here. It really fits their play style. Try and get early advantages, especially around mid, but then also bot lane now with Sneaky on this Caitlyn. Impact is fine if he's isolated in a 1v1, as long as you're winning on the bottom side of the map.
See what comes through right now. Pretty standard battle lines for both these squads. No crazy deep wards coming in just yet, but we'll wait for some penetration to come in. Looks like Smoothie's Janna looking in for a couple of wards alongside the Gragas, as Ziv is just chilling in the Tribe Rush. And yeah, looks like Cloud9 got a deep ward onto the red buff of Mountain, so that is some deep vision put in by Cloud9.
The wild card here is the Jarvan jungle, right? You know, Maokai can set up ganks well. Jarvans can go for level 2 ganks very early on. So that's what Cloud9 are trying to figure out right now. They want to remove some of these surprise early tactics.
Ornn is also sacrificing a bit of his early laning by going for fervor here on the Twitch, trying to maximize his damage in the late game. Warlords on Sneaky is definitely a sustained advantage that matters in the laning phase.
Yeah, it's going to be on Albis to shield the headshots from Sneaky, make sure that Ornn can dodge the Qs as well. The Piltover Peacemakers can really punish here. But again, the scaling obviously much, much better with a Fervor. Twitch. Mid lane here, we're looking at it. Jensen's going to try to push back Westdoor and keep the farm up.
As much as the legend around Westdoor's Fizz has been built up, I feel like LeBlanc has become the signature champ for Jensen as well. A lot of the big, crushing victories for C9 have been around that.
I mean, he's a champion that C9 play really well with and respect so much they even ban it themselves sometimes against other mid laners because they're afraid they're going to pick it early on in the draft. It's such a power pick, and it's been such a power pick in North America. It was one of the big deals coming into Rift Rivals. European teams didn't really utilize the LeBlanc, but North American teams did, and they camped the mid lane and got the LeBlanc rolling, and it just took over games. It can be the same in this one here. Contractz and Jensen together, it's been a good 2v2 combo, and it needs to work in this game.
So far you're seeing it right now. Jensen's only missed 1 CS across the first 2 waves. Right now, Westdoor only has 2 of about an available 8, so is going to get really denied going. Expected for the matchup. We'll see if Cloud9 can keep that one going. Of course, we just saw SKT use a advantage top lane matchup to help win a game as well.
And this Karma in the bottom lane is a strong laner, which obviously, again, fits in with this whole try and protect the Twitch in the early game, try not to lose the lane too hard. Scaling is not the same as a Janna, so that's definitely a disadvantage, but you got the rest of your team scaling for you.
Exactly, and that's why eyes in the early game on the junglers. Contractz, this is one of the first times we've seen him on a tank jungler rather than the super offensive, warriors all coming
his first
through.
non-warrior jungler.
He does have vision on Mountain at the moment, but bottom side they're trading.
Yeah, pretty solid trade out of AHQ as well. Good damage on a Sneaky right now. Actually a farm lead in as well. A nice spike. Gets 10 gold in for Mountain, but the health bar is pretty low on this Jarvan. Krug's hurting him as well, but triggers Thunderlords and was a kill get this camp.
So much about jungle skirmishes are about watching your lanes. Who is collapsing first? Contractz goes back in once he sees the Maokai back in lane to finish off the last of those Krugs.
Nice little distortion right there, gets some damage to Westdoor, but tanks a turret shot for his trouble. Jensen still healing back up, and again, 22-9 is a great farm lead. We're seeing Impact win his early lane as well, but that bot lane is not winning yet for Cloud9.
So see already every single potion stack used by Westdoor taking a lot of damage in the lane. 2 still left on Jensen, so he should be able to force an early TP from the Fizz. A lot of damage in the bottom lane once again. Yeah,
Cloud9 not winning this duo at all.
Okay, definitely chunked down here. A little bit scary, and they do have to worry about a Jarvan. Very flexible ganker. Mountain is level 3, even though he was chased out of the top side. That was a good 40 seconds ago. C9 should be accounting for the possibility. Mountain actually already heading down there, and he wants to get behind the Cloud9 duo. He's done it.
This could be the first big play. Ziv has teleport if he wants it. Doesn't need to, though. Westdoor has actually started his own teleport. That was to the mid lane, so he's not joining this fight. Here comes Mountain. Slow's going to be dodged away by Sneaky, getting the flash off. Gets jumped on, and he does have the mana for 90 caliber net. The chase continues with the barrier. Going to block a lot of damage this time around. The Janna shield there as well. 3 summoners down versus 2 burned.
And this is why we mentioned Mountain early on in the game, because when you play Jarvan, you have gank pressure, and yes, your lanes are getting pushed, but if you can find that little path to behind the enemy team, you can try and get an advantage for your laners. Right here, to get more summoners blown on C9's side, it's a small win in the bot lane.
Yeah, definitely a small win. If we remember back to even the play-in stage here for Cloud9, who have been playing at Worlds for a long time now, more than most of these other teams, one of the big losses was from Cloud9 having a pushing lane on the bottom side, not putting the 3-minute ward behind their tri-bush, and getting ganked and snowballed in on the bottom side. This time around they did get out of it, but as you mentioned, most of the summoners have been blown.
I'm just not a fan of the Twitch flashing forward aggressively this early on in the game, because he's going to be under pressure. There is soon a level 6 LeBlanc, who's still sitting in the lane, not gone back to base just yet, can save the TP, and then use that to push mid, move bot lane, potentially even TP bot lane if needed, and then you can kill this no-flash Twitch very easily. Right now we're top lane.
Gank the top side, around number 2 for Mountain. Impact flashing away, almost mega if he wants that one for the transform and the health bar, and he's going to get a kite away pretty easily. Afraid of flashes for top laners.
Yeah, Impact turns around to fight that because of the rage bar built up. Let's see if that is actually punished for either top laner, though. Currently, Contractz on the bottom side. They saw Westdoor come over.
Westdoor puts the ward down, similar for Contractz. He knows the control ward is here, and he's going to clear away part of this camp without knowing that he's spotted.
Right now, we have 22 CS on Westdoor. There's a wave at his tower he's trying to kill. Jensen goes back here now with 50 CS. Contractz will find Albis.
Gonna find some damage here. Smite for some HP, and he's got the rest of the team coming around as well as Smoothie joins the fray. Level 4 on all these sides. This could be the first route coming across for this one.
Is that TP?
Impact teleports in, but
Jensen.
AHQ see it.
Impact gonna start his as well. He's going to the top lane, but yeah, Jensen here had it been able to hold on to his teleport until this time, and closer to the lane, it's not actually greedy, and they keep Contractz safe.
Yeah, he's fine. He can just walk straight back into this lane here. Again, the goal for Jensen now is if you can't kill the Fizz yourself, push him on the tower, deny him CS, and then roam to this bottom lane so that Sneaky and Smoothie can keep getting damage on the tower. When you play Caitlyn, you need to kill this tower in the early game so you can rotate around the map and make up for your weak mid game.
And it becomes this big sustain war, right? You don't want to be the ones to back, or else you give up huge chunks of your turret. And at this point, it's almost giving up the turret itself. Both of the AD carries, no potions left. In fact, going in on Ziv for a trade.
And dodge away from the stun is still taking plenty of damage. Has to use his own ultimate to stay alive, as in fact used his to get more damage across. So a trade in blows plus 17 should be 19 CS for impact by the end of this wave at 7 minutes here. So far, pretty solid early lane. You're seeing Cloud9 up almost 1,000 gold from the laning phase. This is one of those tenets that kind of had to happen based on their composition.
Yeah. Also now with Contractz, Tracker's Knife is there, Control Ward is there. Get that in AHQ's jungle near their AHQ's blue buff. You want to control bottom side as much as possible. Isolate the Gnar in the 1v1 and allow Sneaky with full vision to once again hit the turret.
Exactly. I mean, I know you guys use the term tempo a bunch in Europe, and you
stopped doing it.
Become tired
you guys
of
made
it.
fun of us.
But this is where it's so apt, right? We talk about the recall timings being so important in that bottom lane because of the turret health. The Caitlyn Janna just continues to fully heal off the minion wave. Every time the shield goes down onto Caitlyn, moves up, tries to abuse her range, they poke in the minion wave, and then the AHQ duo has to choose between taking damage while CSing and trying to clear out the minions and heal up under their turret. Not gonna happen.
And you never get an easy time to recall. You kind of need the enemy dual lane to recall first, so you can try and match that at the same time, but you're always slightly delayed, and that means they return to lane faster, and they start pushing once again.
Like sharks in the water, where as that takes its toll, it draws everybody to the bottom side. There are low health members.
Jugglers spot each other. Nice flag and drag gets Mountain away, but this is a 4 versus 3 dive that can't easily be defended, and you're seeing quite a few turret shots come out from Sneaky as a result. Hasn't bought yet, so the shots don't mean a lot, but getting chipped.
This is the exact play we talk about. Jensen moving in with Contractz. It's not about tower diving AHQ. It's once again allowing more damage to hit onto this turret. It's just small wins and chipping away every single time.
Exactly. Both teams know about this impending explosion here, yet AHQ have a lot fewer options to deal with it. There goes lane movement, actually, as I believe Mountain is down there as well, trying to hold on for them. But as long as Cloud9 match, AHQ just do not have the power to overthrow here.
Yeah, he's trying to give them a chance to actually push out the lane and recall so they don't lose the tower, but now Contractz is down here as well.
I think we're close to Cloud9's first recall timing. Sneaky has the money for BF Sword plus pickaxe and like a control ward. This is what we often saw Mystic do when WE was doing this a couple days ago. This might be the recall timing for Sneaky, and then they'll go for the turret kill at 10 minutes.
See, Contractz is hiding it. He's waiting for Jensen to be able to move down as well. Meanwhile, up in the top lane.
He got him in a turret range impact. He's gonna fall. First blood. Solo kill for Ziv in the top lane.
That is huge. Impact had been getting such a lead, but now mid lane.
Oh, the fight is in. He's gonna find the route onto the door. He's running out of health. Bars the shots. Coming in, gonna maybe get the dot. It's not gonna be enough. Jensen stays alive. The Trident over his head. 1 kill for Cloud9.
Oh, Mountain is here. Can he do anything? No, Contractz will just deny him any entrance towards Jensen.
Not even close to in-range the Q down as well, but he has ulti.
Because there's so much action elsewhere, the bottom lane turret is taking more damage as well. And the objective that we kept on talking about, that first turret bonus, is getting lower and lower.
Oh, Westdoor tried that all in. Let's see Mountain. He's sitting up here.
Westdoor has teleport as well. The Fizz teleport. There it goes. Oh, it's on the turret.
And of course, Mountain very low in health. He's not in range of killing Contractz.
Tempo teleport.
Hoping to fight for the big raptor. Didn't get it. Contractz takes the camp away.
Teleport cooldown is one thing, but you need a place to use it. There have to be wards out there, and they haven't had the pressure.
And this turret could still fall without any recalls coming through. Cloud9 just staying in the lane. It takes them 11 minutes, but it's worth it in the end. First turret gonna come through to Cloud9 here in the bot lane. And the farm is starting to grow as well. They're plus 11.
Yeah, exactly as we mentioned in Champ Select. Like when you have this Janna Caitlyn lane, you're looking to just constantly push him. Get down the turret here. No real counterplay from AHQ other than potentially 2 wards behind Cloud9 they could teleport onto, but they've been using the teleports back to their lane to try and stay even in CS. Top lane though, big mistake from Impact.
We talked about unforced errors in Champ Select as well, and Impact gives over one of them. He had been keeping up the pressure very well, but Ziv, this guy definitely deserves, a shout out. Meanwhile, we're going to talk about this one in the mid lane, but Ziv on top side definitely deserving of a lot of the praise that he has gotten for his top lane play.
That was so close right there, of course, and Jensen barely survives the encounter, but it's now suddenly a 2.3 thousand gold lead for Cloud9. This comp is doing what it's designed to do. Infinity Edge in here for Sneaky. Hurricane there for Ornn, though, is not too bad, especially with Ardent Sensor in soon.
So AHQ knows, okay, Caitlyn will go top lane, start pushing another turret. They're trying to match it now with the Hurricane on Ornn, but there is no Ardent Sensor yet, and there is one on Smoothie side with that gold from the turret.
And that is such a huge difference. The amount of gold value of stats that you get from this completed item compared to the component is insane. They actually are trying to punish that, though, with Mountain coming up here, it looked like, but he is now backed off because Janna post level 6 can fully reset, and you can actually 2v3 because the Ardent is done.
There was also an old control ward placed that obviously HQ knew were there because it was killing one of their own wards, so Mountain didn't have an easy path into that lane. Normally when you swap like this, there's actually no wards in your lane already, and you can get surprised then by an early gank.
Yeah, a full Ardent completion should mean that Cloud9 get to take down this top turret, then transition over to mid lane, and try and control the rest of the objectives. They're actually maybe going for a dive even.
No, Ornn's not going to get found out here. Camouflage plus the shield keeps him safe with the movement speed. Sneaky still getting shots off from the turret as Contractz holds the line for now, and it is one wave away from falling.
And I think AHQ did not expect Ardent Sensor to be completed just yet. Had they just gone to the bottom lane and swapped the lanes around, they could have traded turrets. Instead, they walked top lane, realized, oh, there's an Ardent Sensor. That's bad. We're now going to lose this tower for nothing, and they have not been able to do anything in return. C9 wants standard lanes. They don't want any lanes. Some cities want to keep doing this. They have not won be wanting the Maokai. They will, of course, with the 2v2 as well, with the Caitlyn and the Janna. So they're very happy now.
They're very happy, yeah. Cloud9 might just be the one team to make it into the top 8 from North America. Of course, AHQ could have done the same for the LMS. On looking for the flank. This could be the first big play. Shark's going to land onto the front line. Contractz, though, he's a tankiest member. Mountain low on health. Got 4 shots to do him. Gets a quick shield, though. Spray comes out from Ornn. What? He's trying to make it happen. He's not going to make it go through. The shots come through, and Sneaky takes him down.
Yeah, you can't. Even with the flank there with a Twitch, Janna has such a huge reset. Her ultimate's so good early on in the game. She can apply Ardent to everybody. They all heal up after this, and C9 will take the objective afterwards.
Ornn right there, man. Just wanted that kill so badly. He knew he was going to die on the way out, but still he's using both summoners for it.
So this flash forward on the Twitch Deficio, probably even worse than the earlier one we saw bottom lane. And that's going to be all outer turrets. C9 should reset right now and then grab the dragon before AHQ can actually revive.
But again, they're bleeding towers, they're bleeding gold. It's 5k in favor of C9. They try and engage it with the Hurricane, but there's no Ardent Sensor just yet. And Ornn actually gets a lot of damage off, but this flash forward
doesn't make any sense. I think he wants Contractz, but it's a one-way trip for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where you do it and then you're like, ah, dang, Janna, broken champion. But you're like,
no, that's your fault.
Exactly. You should recognize her right next to him. That's what her ultimate does, and the heals come through to save the rest of C9.
Play that we call the Reckless. Oh. He made top 8.
Damn, boy.
He made top 8. I would take that. Either way,
we aren't even here to defend himself.
We'll see him in the next stage, and I'm sure he'll defend himself well there. We'll see what happens in this one as AHQ down 5,000 gold. Cloud9 went for early game pretty much everywhere, and so far is paying off. Farm leads in every single lane, even supports at least Tide and Farm.
All right, so Rift Hill is the next objective here. There's no like tier 1 towers you can actually kill, but you want to use this Rift Hill to try and get down a tier 2 tower, and then you start setting up that deep vision, take away the jungle camp, and you kind of have this game where if you can't chip away in turrets, you just wait for Baron.
And once again, we have to look at it from AHQ's perspective because it's so difficult, and it gets more and more difficult as you let it go on standard.
Yeah.
Deficio mentioned this, you can't fight for objectives. The only way you could get them in this position now would be to try and trade. You know, if they commit to one side, try and sneak an objective somewhere else, but it's almost past that point now, and Cloud9, the last step for them is to move up the vision so that you see any movements that AHQ try and step out of line.
Yeah.
And if they go for one of those trades, slap the hand, and you cut that off as quick as it started.
Yeah, it's all about stopping the big play out of AHQ. Meanwhile, the LMS squad needs this one to happen, otherwise they will be the third and final LMS team eliminated from Worlds. Here comes the engage. They're going to find Ornn, knock him into the wall. Mountain's there as well. Look for the first damage. They've got Sneaky. Finds the kill on Twitch. He's going to fall. Slaps the hand. There you go, Kobe. And again, no uprise for AHQ yet in this game.
Oh, there was no flash on Ornn. He used it last team fight, and trying to even contest the jungle vision is impossible for AHQ at this point, and it's their own fault when you draft the 3 losing lanes, and when also your AD carry is playing over-aggressive, trying to make something happen in the early game. You can just get punished even more. Big wave top lane, plus a Rift Hill, potentially a tower.
TSM died for this. Cloud9 using the tower pushing strategy to find advantage here on the last day. Ziv, round number 2 with Impact.
Not looking pretty. Pops the ulti for some disengage, but Impact's almost in range. Hyper's going to trigger, not quite enough for the kill, but you know he was thinking about it. Meanwhile, Rift Herald helps knock down top lane tier 2. AHQ still turretless. All they've grabbed has been that single solo kill from Ziv. Cloud9 leading otherwise on a perfect game.
And it's kind of the same setup with Impact as we saw with Huni last game, where he just needs to 1v1 the top laner right in front of him and not really do a whole lot else. Because the 4-man group of C9 with the jungler down to the support, they're just stronger than AHQ's 4-man group. And they're constantly going to apply pressure and isolate Impact to always just play 1v1. No one should ever be able to gank this Gnar, because then a tower or something should fall elsewhere on the map.
Cloud9 going to hope that pressure continues here on this one. Looking to guarantee themselves at least a tiebreaker with EDG for the last spot in the top 8 here at Worlds 2017. Cloud9 hoping to undo all the disappointment North America had so far this week in the Worlds group stage.
And important to note that for that tiebreaker to happen, EDG needs to beat SKT
Which is
in the next game.
Also, I don't know if you can undo it. It's already been done. We're in it. Well, we're living in this world now.
Is one top 8 a disappointment for North America is the question, because then it stops being disappointing if at least one team made it. Either way, of course, the record's not been good, but Cloud9 can at least follow through on their week 1 record of 2-1, hoping to make at least one win come through here. 3-1 so far in this game. Again, 6,000 the gold lead. We have not found the big play out of AHQ yet.
This is the one moment where Impact needs to kind of respect that he's the only one pushing, because the rest of his team has gone back to base, they're returning to the map, and that's where like a Twitch can sneak down, or maybe Westdoor ganks him. But if he's just playing like this now, where he steps away, waits for his team to push the other lanes, well, then he's never going to get ganked.
And it looks like we're in for the next inflection point soon. 1 minute, 18 seconds left on Baron spawning. You imagine Cloud9 might be looking to control that from second 1.
Definitely true, and it becomes very important to clean as much vision as you can for Cloud9. They don't want to let one of those wards slip through for the Maokai to teleport on. Because again, as we said in Gem Select, HQ's whole decision here was to go with the one big play. We can crack this. At some point, we'll get a magnificent engage, you know, and get a whole huge amount of gold back.
Oh, the flash misses entirely. Mountain flashing first, a bit surprising. The Shark's not going to land either. 90 caliber net. Finds himself a big fish as Sneaky's fine.
Today will not be that day. Not right there, not on Sneaky's watch. Tower number 2 about to go down.
Man, AHQ are not defending well in this game here. They feel so forced in their engages, and it's allowing C9 to get even more objectives than they are supposed to get. 5 turrets down, hitting the in-nip turret in the mid lane. Bot lane, Impact can start getting some damage on his tower as well. And before 20 minutes, we might have 6 towers down. Hurry up, Impact!
This is definitely one of those academic victories as Cloud9 begins to continue closing the loop. Caitlyn traps go up. Inhibitor turret health goes down. And here comes Impact.
While on just trying to get his farm, but he's not anywhere close to Infinity Edge right now. His team fight power is not yet there. Turret's gonna fall. There's 6 turrets at 20:08. Look for a bit more. As the inhibitor's gonna be falling, taking more and more shots, and there we go. 2015, the inhibitor falls. A year Cloud9 maybe hoping to forget.
Oh, Sneaky walks out. So AHQ basically decides to play this full scaling game against one of the teams that's been able to snowball.
Explosive cast maybe goes the wrong way. Albis dragged to safety. The knock up under the turret, though this could be the second kill. Contractz forced to flash away. And slight over-aggression. Here comes the re-engage. Look for the ulti across. Finds the roots on the 3. Will this be the fight for AHQ? The healing coming out from Janna. Spray and spray still coming around. Not yet the kill, but now on to Impact. He is not yet close to Gnar. Flashed away, stays alive. Into the back lane for Sneaky. Flashed away himself, and Mountain cannot chase. He will lose his life. This Jarvan is dead. 4-1 now, Cloud9.
That was the attempt. That was it. HQ try and pray on C9 going too far inside the turrets, but it's too late. Sneaky arrives, they reset the fight, and Cloud9 come out ahead.
And C9 is sitting right now with a huge gold lead. They got more items than AHQ. Baron is alive. They can start playing around that one. Already picked up a Mountain Drake to make it easier. They're feeling so good, and it doesn't matter if Caitlyn's mid game is weaker than other AD carries. If you're already an item ahead of them, you're going to be more than fine. This is the first fight where they do not get the kill on Albis, but he's forced out of the team fight for now. Rest of our AHQ trying to get something in return, but this is where you notice how far down they actually are in items.
And they notice it as well. You can feel the desperation there in the engagement. A little bit of an opportunity is all it takes for them to pull the trigger and go all in.
And just the damage not quite there. I mean, it's narrowly close. You can see a lot of low health bars there from Cloud9. You imagine a few hundred more gold in the inventory as these players, that damage comes through. Imagine that's an Infinity Edge on Twitch. That 2-5-0-2 becomes 5-5-0-2 and they're all dead. Those are the margins here that could have made AHQ win, but the gold deficit has grown so large.
Give the Twitch 4 to 5 more minutes, and then he will have that eye edge and be ready to try and fight.
Maybe round 2 looks better, but...
Maybe. It does give enough time for C9, though, to potentially get even their third item on some of their carries, and also start setting up for Baron. It's a Mountain is behind the Baron, either trying to look for a pick or a potential steal, but the Baron is not started yet.
Yeah, C9 don't have to rush into anything. Again, they hold all the cards. They push up each lane, they lay down their vision. You remove one by one all of the pathways for HQ to get back into this game.
Right now, it's not going to look at the Baron, steal another knockup there on a Sea's Shark. This time it's going to land. There is almost no way out for him. Damage coming across, and yet they find the way. The heals come through the barrier in as well. The Janna shield regardless. And now Zeb in the front line, a little bit isolated. The burst damage coming across as Impact tries to come in as well. He's looking for Ornn, and yes, the tank is gone already. Pulls him back in with the Gnar, the wallop there as well, and Jensen. Now on a killing spree, 6-1 Cloud, and get another 2-for-0 team fight.
Contractz chain CC'd Westdoor right there, so he could not get on to Sneaky and finish him, and then all the healing and shielding came in from Smoothie, and now Sneaky's back to full HP.
Thank you, based Ardent Sensor. Sneaky back to full health there, the shields. And Smoothie being a really big deal as well. The respawn's up in about 15 seconds, but right now, Cloud9 looking for the base itself. One of those Nexus turrets down to about 1/4 HP. Top inhibitor going to fall as well. 12,000 gold separates these squads. You have to imagine this is going to be closed out.
Yeah, AHQ, the death numbers are so low that they can get back up and have one more attempt, but they've got no defense.
2 inhibitors already gone, 2 Nexus turrets have followed suit. This could be the last fight of Worlds 2017 for AHQ. 2 and 4 would be the exit for them as the battle rages on. Zib in the front line, but he gets shut down for Jensen's rampage. The door cannot quite close it on a Smoothie. Stays alive, the kill comes in, a double in for Cloud9's mid laner. And now 3 versus 5, they can only sit back and watch as their exit is complete. Cloud9 improved to 3 and 3, and they are now SKT's biggest fans, hoping they can make that top 8.
Great early game from C9. They won their lanes. They pushed the advantage. But man, AHQ's decision to draft 3 losing lanes against C9, one of the teams at Worlds who've actually proven multiple times they can take an early lead and snowball it. You just have to question that decision. They sacrificed everything early on, thought they could maybe survive and make it out, but they made some really poor calls in the game.
When you draft into this, you put yourself into a position to have to outplay, to have to surprise.
No mistakes.
And it's really interesting because I think we've seen this interaction 3 times now, 3 different games of Caitlyn Siege versus someone else. And every time Caitlyn Siege has won so far, it feels like the one strategy's been practiced and the teams know the movements around it.
Right.
Who's scrimmed against it yet and understands the ways to beat it? And it seems like no one yet.
Exactly. That's for next week where teams will have to adapt to it because you need some sort of playmaking in the bottom lane to get onto the Caitlyn, or you need stronger laning AD carries. Twitch is not a strong laning AD carry. He wants to get to his first item, and that's the thing Caitlyn can counter, especially when there's a shielding support next to him, not posing any threat. And great adaptation from C9, picking that Caitlyn, saying, you know, this is working for others. We should do the same.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that we always used to see in the past was the super hard engage and making those quick plays.
Yep.
But Janna right now being so powerful and her fitting in as the disengaged support, also is just another layer that you have to get over when countering it.
And adding 40 raw attack damage turns out to be pretty good when the entire game is pivoted around 13 minutes into the game. That's when you max out the E, and it's like the exact Janna power spike is that level 7, 8, 9 right there. So certainly lots worked out. Great compositions coming out for Cloud9, copying the LPL here in China, but it's worked out for them. So 3-3 means that Cloud9 are either in if SKT beats Edward Gaming, or they battle Edward Gaming as EDG hope to make it their 3-0 run, and they would have to pull a Fnatic, making it 4 straight wins.
They would have to do that, and the fact we've already seen that once during this tournament, it's kind of crazy we might see it again if EDG can actually take down SKT. That's going to be the big one. We'll have to see what happens.
And if it does, it's all 3 LPL teams in the top 8. It'd be beautiful to watch either way. That's going to do it for us here. Now let's hear from Shox and Cloud9's AD carry.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, standing by with Sneaky after a huge match and a huge performance over AHQ. Very much win lane, win game composition coming out of you guys in such an important match. Why the choice for this comp?
Well, Caitlyn's randomly been played by the Chinese teams, mainly World Elite. They played it twice, and then, you know, they just played it against us, and it's like, wow, we can't really do anything. So we decided, you know, maybe we should take it for ourselves, because we did practice it a bit. And, you know, Caitlyn is pretty nerfed in this patch, but it's, for some reason, still works. Like, you can still just push them in, keep them under turret, and then when you do that, like, you just have so much range that you're so safe hitting the turret, and you get the free turret. So it's a huge advantage. Yeah, it's really fun to play, too.
Yeah, I mean, you're very good at it as well, as it showed. Talking about pressure coming into this match, does it bother you, or is it hard to kind of separate the fact that the other NA teams are out, so all the pressure is on you, or how do you try and keep a level head in all that madness?
Normally, it's fine. Actually, last night, I couldn't get as much sleep. I don't know if it was related to that, but I think like when I was trying to sleep, I kept cycling through some like thing I was thinking about earlier in the day with just League. So maybe the pressure got to me from NA losing it all this time. Normally it hasn't really hurt me, but yeah, I mean, it's sad to see the rest of the teams go. I thought TSM would get through. I was kind of questioning Mortals' group because GAM was such a wild card, and yeah, that ended up happening, so.
Well, just to make sure, you know, all hope is on the shoulders of C9, but you guys had a huge victory. You guys look set to take it if EDG lose their next match. And much like last year, you're now waiting on the result of another match. But do you feel poised and confident enough that if it comes to the tiebreaker, you'll be able to beat EDG this time around?
Yeah, I mean, either, you know, take Kate or remove Kate, and the game becomes playable. Like, I actually couldn't even do anything the last time we played. I'm just like, okay, I'm trading, and then there's a Jarvan, Galio, Caitlyn in my face. So, yeah, I mean, I think that was a pretty big factor in that game. So I hope we can improve our pick Ben and, like, win the game.
Well, we'll see. Congratulations and the best of luck. Maybe you're qualified already. We'll see after the next match. That was with Sneaky, and now back over to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shox. C9 have done what they needed to do to guarantee themselves at least a tiebreaker against EDG pending the results of the next game, and they've done it with a complete shift in draft strategy.
And that's the biggest thing, is the adaptation. We finally saw a North American team change things up. Sneaky spoke very highly of the Caitlyn, and he picked himself up this time around.
Yeah, and C9, I think, played very well, and for once, the faithful were rewarded here. The flip-floppers can hang their heads in shame. As C9, I think, did lane exceptionally well, and they drafted to the lanes. I think we all agreed once we saw the draft that this was C9's game to lose. And it felt, honestly, AHQ's draft kind of felt reminiscent of some of the stuff that TSM was doing and some of the traps that these other teams are falling into, where it's like, well, if we do get to that late game, we're going to win, but you have to be able to get there. And clearly, AHQ with 3 losing lanes was not able to do so.
And that just amps the value of the Caitlyn rather for every match that is upcoming, the entire tournament. That pick has likely changed the entire meta for quite some time.
I mean, you heard it from Sneaky there. If they are going to have to play this tiebreaker against EDG, he said either get rid of it or pick it for ourselves, because they don't necessarily see a way to beat it, at least at the moment.
The thing is you can start looking back to old school Caitlyn answers and the likes of the Ashe. Even Jinx has a decent matchup sometimes against Caitlyn. Team WE, Mystic said in an interview yesterday that he really likes Caitlyn right now simply because the Ardent Sensor can compensate for her lost attack speed steroids.
Now that said, for AHQ in this game, if they were going to win, it was going to have to be through a team fight. They made the attempt 13 minutes in the mid lane. It did not go well. C9 coming out on top on this one.
And this was AHQ's moment, but the problem is that Brother Doublelift, Brother West, and Brother Wild Turtle send their regards. Everyone's going to have a flash like this, and on today was your moment.
Oh, jeez.
Well, Double Lift still has his flash from yesterday, so I don't know about that one.
Oh, my God.
But the biggest
He's already
thing,
dead, Dash.
I'm so sorry. It was laying right there in front of me. I had to pick it up.
But the biggest thing is when you looked at that team fight, it was very clear that AHQ needed to win right there. They needed to get the Twitch back in the game, and Maokai was like split pushing bottom. Got it, guys.
And I mean, that's something that we even called out a couple minutes before it happened. If C9 get the last outer that early in the game with already CS advantages across the board, the game is essentially over. You lose full control of the jungle. You can't really come back. You need to be able to delay. And since they have Fizz without wave clear, they needed to force a fight. So while it looks silly for Ornn to be flashing in there, I honestly feel like the fault is more on the Maokai for not being there in the first place. And you can argue, you know, maybe don't do it if he's not there, but still.
Even with like a 6 to 7K Goldie, there were multiple team fights where Sneaky was this close to going down if it weren't for all the shields
Janna.
and heals and whatnot coming through to keep him alive. And so you could see the potential for the one team fight if executed properly and at the right time. But really what I want to do now is look ahead to this final match, this Game 6 between EDG and SKT, as it very much could determine who gets out in second here.
I'm riding the EDG train all the way here. From what I've seen from the LPL teams in the second week, from what I've seen of EDG today, this team is on fire, and I haven't liked what SKT have done at all, so I actually favor them in this matchup, and we're going to get a tiebreaker.
But the thing that SKT have proven, because their early game is a giant question mark, but the thing that they have proven this tournament so far is that they can still late game team fight. I'm not talking about like 55-minute late game team fight. I'm talking about like 2 items, 3 items on their ADC. They stack it up, they execute very well, and that's what EDG suffer in. Yes, they look great today because we haven't seen that team fight phase from them when it's on even footing.
I'd also say that, like, while I'm definitely in your corner as far as EDG looking amazing today, I do think that SKT looks significantly better with Blank coming in, and I do give SKT the credit that they are a team that generally can adapt, that can fix their problems on the fly, so I do have some confidence that they can actually take this game, but I think it's massively going to come down to the early game. If you said if EDG looks as dominant in the early stages, SKT won't get a chance to come back.
Will the substitution be enough? The pressure is on EDG going into the next game as they have to beat the reigning champions SKT to force a tiebreaker. Meet us back here right after this.